Good morning. Good morning. Hey, you don't have to contemplate. Good morning. Good morning to you. You. My name BK. I'm BK. What's up? So today, well, I'm not sure why even. Listen, because I was just like thinking about some things. I have some downloads coming in, but I want to talk astrology. So this is for all of the 27 and up out there. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? You doing? How is that? So Saturn, right? Uh, Big Daddy, Mr. Father Saturn. So I am a Capricorn, very much a Capricorn. I talk about it in some of my videos. I don't really go too deep into detail, partly because I'm a Scorpio moon, so I be feeling like it's a lot of stuff about me that you really don't even need to know. It's not your business, and it's not gonna help you on your journey because it's my business for my journey. But I guess I can get a little vulnerable because me explaining what a Saturn return is, what it means, and how it does is is all well and fine and good, but it's not gonna make too much sense unless I at least like talk a little bit about myself and the things that I have been going through lately, um, and just some of my natal chart placements and things. So let's start with what is Saturn and what does it represent and how does it affect us? So Saturn, if I'm not mistaken, is the sixth planet. Let me see, wait. Mercury, Venus, us, Mars, Jupiter. Yeah, so the sixth planet, right? And the sixth planet, well, in numerology, number six represents success, but in the zodiac wheel, it kind of represents Virgo. But Saturn, right? Saturn is the planet of obstacles, restrictions, limitations, hard knocks, and successes that only come from traversing and travailing a path that seems very steep and full of obstacles and adversity and things taking a long time, like coming into your own. It represents karma. It represents lessons that you have brought with you from your past life, and also lessons in this life that you will not live very long or succeed at life in without learning. So, um, it represents priorities. It represents accomplishments, goals, where you see yourself and who you actually are, how other people see you, and the things that, like, okay, so Venus represents like values and worth, but Saturn represents what you value and your own self-worth, like self-respect, self-love, self-appreciation, like the things that you cannot take for granted about yourself because you had to work very hard and for a long time to be able to assimilate, activate, or accept and come to terms with those things about yourself. And so now at this point, there it's okay. So Saturn, right, is the sign. I mean, is the planet for the signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. but in some ways, in some senses, it has like a Leo kind of sort of type of energy, just in the fact that it is a solo, solitary type of energy. It is the planet of Saturn is very large. One of the only planets bigger than Saturn is Jupiter, but Saturn has a very large gravitational pull, so it's magnetic. It draws things in, but it's a solo dolo energy. It's an energy of, if you have this, it's because you got out and got it by yourself on your own with no help. And only those things that you have that you went out and got by yourself and didn't have no help doing, those are the only things that are truly yours, but you take a lot of pride in those things because they're yours, and the effort, energy, and time that it took to manifest those things creates like an attachment of sentimentality. Um, yes, Saturn. Also, the revolution, or 1 year, one trip around the sun for Saturn. 1 year is one year is always just 1 year. So on every planet, 1 year is just 1 year. But because we live on Earth and we base our time on how long it takes this specific rock to make one trip around the sun, right? Other planets' days and years are shorter or longer in relation to ours. So, like Mercury being the closest to the sun, its year is really only like a couple months. A day on Mercury is only a couple hours on Earth, but that's because it's closer to the sun. Now, Saturn, having five other planets in the way between it and the sun, it takes a little longer. So, one rotation around the sun for Saturn can be anywhere from 27 to 31 Earth years. So, it's a very potent, strong, long-lasting, very effective, affective type of energy. And if you are one who can feel and touch and tap into those types of powers and energies, like I can, because Capricorn, right? Then you know and have understandings and insights about certain things that most people don't have or wouldn't see, only because they're things that take a long time to mature. They're realizations that take a long time to come to or mature, or it takes a type of like experience to even understand. And that's not to say that I or Capricorns or people who can touch that energy are better or anything. It's what I'm saying is, because the energy that we tap into comes from so far away, and and you know in a distance that creates a long periodically time, we are able to kind of be everywhere except the now. Like, we could dive real deep into the past about 30 years. We could see about 30 years into the future. Like, we are either like real retro or way ahead of the game, and a lot of times, either way, either which way, being too far back or too far forward means that you are not right now. And a lot of people look at you crazy because they just don't understand, like, you know from point A to point B in Mercury time, that was like point A to point L, but you went from like point A backwards to point Z and then back to A, and then now you going forward again. Like, make it make sense. And so Saturnians, that's what I'm gonna call it. People who are heavily influenced by Saturn. Saturnians are very different, but also highly intelligent. Sometimes not the most creative because Saturn is an Earth planet. I mean, like the elements of Earth planet. It's rocky. It's cold. Like Saturn, the compositional, actual, like physical makeup of Saturn is made up of nothing but rock and ice and dust clouds. So it can be a little abrasive. It can be a little cold, detached. It can be a little hard or obstinate, meaning like hard to move and stubborn. But it's also one of the most genuine, nicest, like kindest. I wanted to say softest, but not soft, but like loving, I guess, like type of energies that you could find because it's Saturn in astrology um, represents the archetype, excuse me, meaning image or like energy, but the it represents the father, where the moon or Cancer represents the mother, the sun and Saturn both are energies of the father, um, the carer, the protector, the provider, the builder, the knower, the leader, the the activator, the manifester, the not dictator, but like the executor. The A lot of times we're made out to be this image of like the antagonist, but the one who sees a situation and is like, well, bump the feelings and bump what your friends say and bump how you feel or bump how even how I feel and bump like just anything outside of this and this. Right now we're making a connection between this and this, so bump anything else that would take away focus from this and this. And now what needs to be done? What is the end goal? What is our business? What's going on with this and this? And how can we turn this and this into whatever is next, and do something with it and make it productive. Make it you know grand and luxurious. Make it, the word is right here, um, lucrative. Make it real lucrative. Yeah, the father. Building something and making something out of something. And so that's Saturn. Okay, so now me, this is gonna be a lot quicker because I don't like talking about myself. But me, I am a Pisces rising, meaning when I was born, as the sun was coming up, it was crossing through the constellation of Pisces, and that's my physical appearance. That is my first impression. That's how people see me and what they remember about me and how they think of me. Pisces, right? I was Scorpio moon, meaning when I was born, in the little 2.5 day period where the moon is in each of the signs, it was in Scorpio. So Pisces was coming up. Scorpio was on it was the moon, where the moon was at, on the other side of the world. But the sun, because I was born in the morning, in the daytime, the sun was in Capricorn. So the sun being the center of our, rotational pool, our solar system, it that's my energy, my will, it's funny, my will. But the sun in Capricorn, that's my energy, my will, my drive, my actions. Um, a lot of times I see the sun sign as, because our moon is who we are born as and who we instinctually feel like, and how we emotionally like react to things, our inner voice and our inner child. That's who I kind of see us as, who we truly are. So I see the sun a lot of times as the person that you're meant to be and are growing into, the lessons that you need to learn in this life before you die so that you can be that person and take the next step properly, right? So I was born as a Scorpio. In my life, I am supposed to learn how to be a Capricorn, but I'm only going to learn that in all of the different types of Pisces situations that I find myself in, the Pisces types of people that come into my life, and the Pisces places and things that I end up being in or having with me. Um, but when it comes to astrology in your natal chart, okay, so quick astro lesson. Wherever your sun is, your personal planets, meaning your Mercury, your Venus, your Chiron, which is your Earth, because the sun is Earth, but the sun is the sun in astrology, right? So your Earth, your physical body, your sun, that's the sun, but that's Earth. So your personal planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, um, Chiron, and the Moon. Some of those aren't exactly planets, but they're all the things closest to us in the solar system between Earth and the sun. All of those things can't be too far behind or too far ahead, because since in real life in 3D the sun is the center, and we have a specific order in which the planets go based on closeness to the sun. Since in astrology, stick with me now. Since in astrology, the planet Earth is represented by the star, the sun, wherever that is for you, me being Capricorn, the other ones are very close by. So I have what a lot of astrologists or astrologers would call a stellium or a stellarium, stellanium. Here's a few different variations of the word. I use stellium, it's the shortest. But a stellium is simply when you have placements, either house placements or planetary placements or sign placements, and there are three or more of them, right? And it's all the same thing, right? Okay. So a stellium just means you have three or more of the same thing in your chart. It also applies to transits and the world as a whole and synastry and other things, but we're the basics. So a stellium, my Capricorn stellium, means that even though I have a Pisces rising, I look like a fish, and a Scorpio moon, I react with a stinger. Um, my physical body, my will, my actions, my sun, along with my ideas, communication, and travel, my Mercury, my values, possessions, and desires and sensuality, my Venus, my actions, aggression, firepower, and temper, my Mars, and then my lessons, my blessings, my expansion, my knowledge, and my teachings, Jupiter. All of those things. Those are the personal. So all of those things for me and some other stuff is also Capricorn. So again, Pisces rising, Scorpio moon, right? Two water signs. But then Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, um, Neptune. I'm sorry, yeah, I don't have Jupiter in Capricorn. That would be horrible. But yeah, my Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Neptune, and Uranus are all in Capricorn. Neptune represents dreams, and Uranus represents the quick and unstable changes that happen in your life. Everything is in Capricorn, which is in my Sun. So that means all of those other aspects and all of those other characteristics and all of those other energies from those other planets are all wrapped up in the same thing with the same energy and the same face with the same body. So I embody, even though I am a Saturn, I embody Mercury, Venus, Mars, Neptune, especially Neptune and Jupiter. I said Jupiter earlier because Jupiter and Neptune are the rulers over Pisces. So when Pisces, when these planets are in Pisces, they're the strongest, but also when you have other placements in your chart that lead back to Neptune or Jupiter, it connects whatever that sign is to Pisces. So I'm a very Capricorn Pisces, but Scorpio Capricorn, but Pisces Scorpio, meaning like I just am a lot of things and can be can put on a lot of faces, been to a lot of places and experienced a lot of teachings. Saturn returns though, because I didn't even mean to go this long. So Saturn returns, like we talked about earlier. So Saturn, from wherever it starts out there in space to the point where it gets back to that same spot in space, well, really is never, technically. But before it do a full rotation, right, 360 degrees, takes about 30 years. So when you on this planet of Gaia, Terra, Pangea, Mother, yeah, when you're here with this physical body flesh pocket thing, and you start to get to up there around them ages, you make it that long, you still here at them ages, then you start to really pick up and feel and become affected by that energy of Saturn, because in your natal chart, you should probably look it up. In your natal chart, Saturn is in one of the 12 signs and also in one of the 12 houses. It also might even have some aspects or some additional things with it, like a Chiron, a dark moon node, a south node, a north node. These are astrology terms. You should like not even, if you're not there, don't even worry about it. But if you know, what they say on the TikToks, I should probably download that. The girls that know, and the girls that don't. But yeah, so I just turned 28. You could say I'm 29 because it's been a couple months and the 28 has come and gone. But I started feeling my Saturn return, honestly, towards the end of like my 25. Like by the time I was 26, I could like definitely feel like things were happening and shaking and twisting and turning and what and now being 28, so from 26 to 28, a lot of crazy things have happened. Um, for a lot of people, the Saturn return doesn't truly end until like around 30, 31, 32. And even then, it still has like a shadow period. Everything in astrology has a pre shadow and a post shadow, meaning you see it coming and you feel it once it's gone. So my pre shadow was like 26 to 28. That was like, okay, I'm seeing that things is probably not going to be the same coming soon. Now I am in the energy of, okay, Saturn returns. And in a couple years, I'll be like, oof, so glad I'm still alive and made it through that. Um, let's not revisit that for at least 30 years. Because a Saturn return, this is what a Saturn return does. Saturn, again, being cold and rocky, it's an ice Earth planet, but it's very hot on the inside, ironically. Um, Saturn, it, how can I put this? The life that you live for the first 27, 28, 29 years of your life, the things that you learn, you starting at like 5, 6, and going through school and graduating through all the levels, and then, figuring out life and coming into your own, and, teenagerhood, and, starting to explore the world and come into yourself in your early 20s and things, and, start to build a life and things. All that is a lie. Everything is false. None of it is true. You have been illusioned, glamored. People have been tricking you. And so Saturn, because it represents obstacles, lessons, and hard knocks. Yeah, everything hard and tumultuous and long and like grueling, and it's just like, why Saturn type things. When it comes back to the place it was at when you were born, it is coming back to be like, hey, it's time for second grade. It's time for your first birthday. You is ain't no baby no more. So I hope they taught you good, because everything you love is about to fall apart. Everything you did is not gonna matter. Um, all the things you have gone, and the person that you think you used to be, dead. Bury it. Plan a funeral. Write a eulogy. Because guess what? You can't be that person no more. Trying to be that person again might kill you, literally. And so like you have this like breakdown mentally of like, they say every after your 20s, just about every decade you go through some type of mental either expansion or breakdown. Your Saturn return is the first. It's that like, okay, you've been an adult for a couple of years or so, you think. And so now like, what would happen if I press this button right here, boop, that would take away from you everything that you identify with? What would you do then? What would you become? How would you how would you deal with that, bounce back and prosper, or whatever you do? What would your reaction be? That's what Saturn says. Based on what you've learned, what would you do if? And if you're a comic book geek like I am, you'll know that this is just one universe, one timeline. You are just this one you, but there are other places where you are you, but slightly different, or somebody else. And each each you is based on the one you that you started from. But at different times in life, you make different choices and end up in different scenarios with different people. And each one of those choices that you make to either yes or no leads to a timeline, an end result, the end of your life in some way, but not the same way. And sometimes, in some versions of you, you might instantly perish right then and there. But in other versions, you might live for hundreds of years and be rich and successful and own empires and lots of things. But Saturn comes in because those alternate timelines and parallel universes type things, that's like a Pluto Neptune type of looking at the world, which is funny. Pluto in the moon, Neptune in the personality, lifestyle. But Saturn brings all of those timelines together, puts it all in one, makes you one single person again, and says, okay, you made a lot of choices in all this time since I've been gone. What did you accomplish? What was your goal? What is your reputation and who do people see you as, and what type of money is you making right now? Because if you are not at the top right now, I'm gonna knock you back down to the bottom and you're gonna have to claw your way back up to the top. Because when I knock you down to the bottom, it's like being pushed down a well into the center of the earth, and they cover up the well. I'm sorry. Then they shovel in tons of dirt into the well, and then they cover it up. They have encased you in a tomb, and so now you have to start it from the bottom. And now I'm here. Take everything in you that nobody can take away from you, and then start slowly like making your way. It's like climbing up a mountain, but the mountain like fell on you. So it's really one of those like over, under, around, through, here and there types of things. Like you are here, you got to get there in any way that you know how, in any way that you can. But the time is ticking, and if you don't make it before the buzzer, guess what? Too bad, but we might not see you no more. So again, like I'm in my just the beginnings of my Saturn return, but I've had a long and crazy life because I am a Scorpio moon in the eighth house. The eighth house represents Scorpio. So Scorpio moon in the eighth house means my emotion. They say the moon is in detriment or in fall or not happy or comfortable when it's in the sign of Scorpio. So I have these crazy, outrageous, enormous, crazy feelings that nobody sees in the most private, secretive place in the parts of my life. And it's also combined with Jupiter, which expands and makes everything bigger and explosive and like troublesome. That's not a word. Makes everything want to move. It's like a higher octave of Mercury, like 3 octaves up or some shit. And so when you get there, like so for me, Scorpio moon with Jupiter in the eighth house is like I've been through a lot. And then Capricorn makes everything stretched out long and hard, and like you just got to deal with it and learn from it, or just give up and just jump off the mountain, which I didn't. And now I'm at this stage of okay, now you're an adult, you grown, you know a lot, you've done a lot, but now what's gonna happen if all of that is taken from you and you are left bare butt naked in the middle of nowhere with just your wits about you? Can you make it back? So I'm trying to make it back. I mean, right now, honestly, because I'm in the beginning of the journey, I'm really just like kind of like still getting my footing, seeing which parts of my life all are falling apart and what exactly is worth putting back together and what I'm gonna have to go out and find anew and rebuild on my own in these next couple years. Because I just turned 28. So till I'm about 30, Saturn is gonna be fucking with me. And like I said, because with my personal planets, I'm like 7, 8 times a Capricorn. So Saturn is fucking with me in about 10 different ways. And with my Scorpio moon, all I can do is feel about it on the inside and just, you know, get through each moment, each day and realize that in this one life, that's all I can do. So, yeah. I guess and you know what, being a Capricorn, Saturn returns for Capricorns actually, honestly. This would be like really like our glow up times, like because we've been through so much up until this point. Like this would be the time if you have good karma, which they call dharma. If you have a lot of dharma about you, this is the time when gifts come in, you meet great people, you find yourself in expensive, extravagant, lush, just beautiful places, and things just work out for you, and you don't really have to like work too much harder because Capricorn is the hardest working sign, the father of the zodiac, the one who is responsible and knows the priorities and is mature. So these are usually the times, these couple years that we get when Saturn, our daddy, is back in the picture. This be like the only time in our lives these couple years where we really get to wild out and have fun and do different things and things. I'm not quite there yet, but I am learning that, I'm just learning. I'll tell y'all more about the things that I have learned if I make it to the end of this journey. But until then, I'm gonna just leave this here. Excuse me, because my mouth is a little dry. And my name BK, and the House of Abundance with your star player BK thanks you. Will BK, spiritual renegade potential guru, thanks you. BK thanks you, and Saturn thanks you. And if you made it this far, thank yourself because I don't know if, I'm just talking and it's not making sense, or, I just touched you and you learned something. But either way, like the video, it helps a lot. And subscribe. You are wonderful. And I love ya. Um, yeah. So stay tuned. Check out another one. I'll be back. And I want to make the part two to this kind of pretty soon. But again, this could be anywhere from a 3 to a 5 year process. So I don't want to just come back and have nothing to say about it. So I'm not gonna put no time on when I come back with this part two. But just know if I come back with a part two, that means I have made it that far. Bless me. Thank you, Jesus. All right, see you later. Namaste. Ashe, I say be blessed and stay woke. And a thank you. Yeah, are you sure you want to stop streaming? Am I sure?